Flippity flop.
What is up, my friends? Today we're going to be reviewing the Geo Mini. This is a little console that I've had for about 4 months now, and I've been wanting to talk about it on a video. So here it is. I'm going to be doing a review of this little machine today, and I think it's the best of all the mini consoles that you can buy on the market today. But it doesn't come without a couple of critiques, some things that really annoy me about it. But all in all, though, it's a solid little machine, and let's get into the details of this little console right now. So here's this little unit. Why don't we just start off with controllers. So I bought this back in December at a retail price of $79.99, and for that price you get a charger wire with no adapter to plug in. You get an HDMI to HDMI mini port here to hook up to your television. You can see right there. And this is your power cord, which at the moment I currently have it plugged into my wife's external battery port, which is pretty handy. You know, she doesn't use this that much, but it's ideal, you know, for extended power. And let me tell you, I charged this thing once, and I probably got about 8 hours of gameplay on this Geo on just one charge so far, and I haven't recharged it yet. I'm just trying to see how long it would last with this battery pack, but I don't know. Pretty interesting in how it's pretty convenient with battery usage, but there are no ways to, you know, run this off its own battery source. So the two controllers, for the $80 price that I purchased this machine for, it comes with two Geo controllers. They give you a white and a black one, and I think the controllers, you know, they fit in your hand really well. They're comfortable. You have your standard, Geo colored buttons. It's a solid controller, and each controller plugs into the side of the Mini, so you can go totally portable, two-player action here. Plug in a controller on each side. But you know, the bulk of when I play this game is on my TV. Although recently I've been, you know, playing on the go around the house if my kids are hogging up my television downstairs. Now the one thing that really annoys me with this controller is that it doesn't have a D-pad. A lot of the fighting games that are included in this Mini library are fighting games, or one-on-one fighting games that require, you know, precise precision, back and forth, up and down rotation commands, and it's actually really difficult to pull a lot of these moves off. And you know, some characters have fatalities in certain games, and it's, you know, I've been playing one-on-one fighters for over 30 years, and I have a tough time trying to pull out, you know, combinations with this. I prefer a D-pad unless it's a full-time joystick. This little joystick or analog stick really sucks for pulling out multiple commands. But basic commands like, you know, the circular motion of a Hadouken or a Dragon Punch type of combo command will work fine. It's just like the complex combos, I can't get anything to work with this analog. Just think of it as like an analog stick. It's not really a joystick. So that might be a deal breaker for some purists out there. Geo came out with a joystick that you can actually plug into this, and it's built in with like 20-something fighting games if you want. I mean, I remember watching a review that Metal Jesus Rocks did a review on the Geo joystick, but I don't want that. It was too heavily, the library of 20-something games were just mostly one-on-one fighters, and you know, this Mini has a good collection of fighters, you know, shooters, some platformers, even some sports titles. And we're going to get into the library when I hook this up to the TV, but let's just finish with the features that this little Mini has. So the controller ports. Now if you press select and start, it will bring up an options menu, and from here you can save. You can save your game, you can load a previous saved game, and each game has 5 different files, you know, save files for each game. So if you want to, you know, save your progress, save high scores, you can do that. You have your brightness lever, and then you have your volume control. There's no volume switch on the machine. You'll have to just do it manually from there. The stock sound speakers are pretty good. There's 2 little vents here for the stereo speaker sound, and it sounds fantastic when you hook it up to a television, especially if you have a home theater stereo speakers. Kicks ass. Excellent sound. And then there's also, on the go, you got headphone jack. And here's a Samurai Showdown 2. So here's my little spot where I keep the Mini next to my Retro Bit Trio. Before I hook it up, I just wanted to briefly talk about the joystick, which I think it's pretty good. I mean, I don't use it often. I prefer just to hook up a controller and use the controller, because especially with the fighting games, when you're trying to pull combinations out with this joystick, sometimes this machine, the mini unit will shift around. Even though it has pretty good footing, it's just annoying, and I think it just plays better with the controller. But it's totally serviceable. And this joystick, if you want to call it a joystick, just think of it as like an elevated analog stick. That's kind of what it feels like anyway. It's serviceable. Can't complain about that. So yeah, I hook it up. The HDMI Mini, I had to buy a new HDMI Mini cord because the original cord only lasted a few months before it started malfunctioning on me. So I went out and bought a bigger cord, and just way better. And here's the little wire, the power wire that it comes included with. I bought an adapter to plug into the wall. And there we go. So I'm going to hook this up. And once I turn my TV on, see the image will go directly to my TV, which I'm going to turn on right now. I'll show you the menus. All right, so looking at the menu, Neo Geo Mini comes with 40 games. And starting up here, you have your settings. You can change your languages. You can change your library layout from your recently played games or just the default setup, which I didn't even realize this. I'd rather put on recently played because it kind of puts the games right in the front, the ones that you're playing. I kind of like that. So I'm going to change your 16:9 screen, or you can have an original 4:3 ratio. As you can see, you can play with the screen settings. Image quality optimization, which is pretty handy. It kind of smooths out the pixelated look, and since I use it on HD TV, I leave it on, and it definitely smooths out the graphics. It looks really sharp on an HD TV. One thing I have to gripe about with this library is it's very one-on-one fighter heavy, especially with the King of Fighters. I mean, they give you like 4 or 5 different versions of King of Fighters, a bunch of versions of Fatal Fury, and then they give you a bunch of sequels of Samurai Showdown, which, I don't know. Give me one or two of the best ones, and then move on. But that's one of the gripes I have to say about this. Start you off with some Metal Slug games. You can't go wrong. Excellent ports. I mean, to the T, exactly like the arcades. Metal Slug 1, 2, 10, 3, 4, 5. It's a lot of Metal Slugs. And good thing for me, I love Metal Slugs, so I can handle them. King of Monsters, pretty cool. I'm sure you guys heard of it. It's like a wrestling game where you're these giant monsters fighting in cities, and as you're wrestling and fighting, the city around you is getting destroyed. Pretty cool. You have the sequel. Sengoku 3 is one of my favorite beat-em-ups, SNK beat-em-ups, or one of my favorite beat-em-ups of all time. It's really good weapons-based beat-em-up. Excellent. Magician Lord, platformer. This guy has like magical powers. Self-explanatory. Blues Journey, platformer, solid. Shock Troopers. This is one of my favorites on this entire little mini. Top-down shooter, kind of like Commando. Excellent. And the sequel, which I haven't tried yet. Robo Army. Excellent. Beat 'em up. Kind of plays. I've done a video in the past about it. Kind of plays. Has a little bit of Battletoads in it. You have Cross Swords. An excellent game. Kind of like a Punch Out, but with weapons and blocking with shields. Really cool. Mutation Nation, another beat 'em up. 3-count bout, it's a wrestling game. King of Fighters. Now there's a lot, like I said earlier, there's a lot of King of Fighters games. They give you 95, 97, 98, 2000, 2002. You got Art of Fighting, old school one-on-one fighter. It's alright. Not one of my favorites. Fatal Fury games, I enjoy the Fatal Fury games. You got Special, Real Bout, Fatal Fury. This game I haven't tried yet, Mark of the Wolves. I haven't tried it yet. Samurai Showdown games, I played 2 and 4. These are just great. To give you Samurai Showdown Special. The Last Blade 2, I haven't tried yet. World Hero Perfect, it's a solid one-on-one fighter. Kind of came out around the Street Fighter 2 era. In the early 90s, you had a lot of companies making Street Fighter 2 type games, and World Hero is perfect. This is a solid one. Kizuna Encounter, I haven't tried it yet. It's the says Super Tag Battle. I'm kind of saving it for a rainy day. Ninja Masters. This is one of my favorites. It's an amazing one-on-one fighter. Under the radar. I never knew about this fighting game until I got the Mini, and I really enjoy this one. One of my favorites. Excellent. I prefer this over Samurai Showdown, in my opinion. Now, Top Players Golf. It's such a mediocre golf game. I'm not crazy about it. Super Sidekicks I haven't tried yet. Football Frenzy, on the other hand, I've tried. Played through it a few times. It's kind of like a Tecmo Bowl type of game or viewpoint, but it's just not as good as Tecmo Bowl, not by far. I don't think that when they made this game, they weren't really abiding by NFL rules and stuff like that. So there's a lot of terms and things that just don't make any sense. I feel like the creators didn't understand the game of football when they made this game, but it's all right. The Blazing Star is a solid side-scrolling beat 'em up. Last Resort is just fantastic, absolutely fantastic, perfectly polished side-scrolling shooter. Excellent, even better than Blazing Star. And SNK just flexes their muscle with these games from the 90s. These games were just superior to any of the 16-bit home console games we were playing as kids. That's why they costed 4 times more, for a reason. Excellent games. Ghost Palettes, awesome. Kind of reminds me of a little bit of like 1943, but it's just excellent in its own way. Excellent. Puzzled, I haven't tried yet. I'm thinking it's some kind of like Tetris or Columns type of game. I haven't tried it, so I can't comment on that one. And then we're back to the beginning, the Metal Slug. So there's your tour of these games. I've made some Neo Geo videos in previous months. I mean, if you want to check out what some of these games look like. But that's really for another video. This one's probably long enough. I just wanted to give you a preview of these games and what this Neo Geo Mini can do. So there you have it, fellas. My review of the Neo Geo Mini. I think it's the best out of all the minis, hands down. And I highly recommend this baby. Excellent. See you guys next time. I'm gonna play some Shock Troopers. Peace.